Hey guys, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations. In the last part, we did some cross-examination, and we screwed ourselves over, and now we're going to do more cross-examination and screw ourselves over harder. So, the truth is, I went because he called me. Had you ever met the victim before then? No, never. But that day he called me up and told me he wanted to talk to me about Dolly. And this Dolly person is, we've already established, it's kind of embarrassing. She's my, sweetheart. Oomph! What was that for, Mia? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like slapping something all of a sudden. Okay. Dahlia Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim, Doug Swallow. Before she met Mr. Wright, that is. So it was one of those nasty love triangles. I see. Okay. He was in the pharmacology department, so we got to 245 behind that building. Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated you should meet at 245? Yeah, and we were both there right on time. You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct? Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU. An alchemist, I see. I gotta admit, I was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run on high-voltage electricity. Ho-ho, how fascinating. He sounds like he was quite the ambitious young man. What do I do? Maybe I should ask him for more details. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do the pharmacology department. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the pharmacology department. Well, okay, sure. I don't know all that much, though. A little bit earlier in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high-voltage electricity. That's right, and they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltages, so there are high-voltage cables everywhere. High-voltage cables? Yeah, there were electrical poles set up all around the building. The high-voltage cables run overhead around the roof. Finally, I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, so we established that there's electricity around. Alright, and 3 p.m. when they return back. So, wait, so what was it you were talking about? You know, a chew cough. That maybe we should hang out again sometime. Hang out again sometime? I wish that were true. Alright, then later when I went back, I find him lying there. Sure. What time was it? Tell me, she asks that. Oh, fine. So you say you went back? Yeah, that's when I found the body. Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him? Well, that's right, I was. Then why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there? I thought maybe we could make up. Yeah, sure. Achoo, achoo. Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying this. Okay. I'd been taking cold cure X for the last 2 or 3 days. Sure, I'll keep pressing. Might as well get all the information I can. It's rather unusual to catch a cold this time of year, isn't it? Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. I guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in spring, huh? I suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know that you were taking cold medicine? Well, I always took one after meals, so I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. Okay, but I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime the day of the accident. On the day of the incident, what did you do for lunch? Huh? What does that have to do with anything? You can never be too sure, especially not with you. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini omelets are magically delicious. Youch! Why did you... Oh, well, youch! Why did you punch me in the jaw? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden. I don't think she likes Dahlia. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met... So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death. And then the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. I'm not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean? He. I knew it was too much work for a little girl. Humph. However, there is one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honor? How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? Well, that is, You are correct, Your Honor. I know how it happened. So, how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this mess smelling like a rose. Okay, establish murder method. Your Honor! Yes, Miss Fay? I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died. That would be most impressive. He. Quite the brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their arguments with evidence. Of course I know that. Actually, I totally forgot about that. Wow. You have a worse memory than I do. Now then, Miss Fay, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted. I know how he was electrocuted. I know that this was done with this. Do you see the thing? As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well. What? But there is nothing that even remotely resembles a murder weapon here. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain this in a bit more detail. Miss Fay, where exactly in this photo is the murder weapon? Now, sometimes when you have to, you have to show a specific piece of evidence inside of a picture, you'll go to this screen where you control this little cursor down there with the Wii Remote's D-pad. So, move it over, whatever you need to do, press A, and boom. Well, naturally, it's right here. That's... What is that? A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honor. Remember the testimony we've heard. The machines the pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage. And because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere. So then, the high voltage cable... Yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation. That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. Now, the victim's cause of death may indeed have been a high-voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was... the defendant. Achoo. That much is certainly true. Yes, and that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that will establish that Mr. Wright was the murderer. You do? Well, what is it? His fingerprints. Fingerprints? You mean the defendants were on something besides the medicine bottle? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim is wearing a leather jacket. And as you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well. You mean? Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. The palm print of the defendant's very own hand. What? I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent on murder, he squarely pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable. Smack, 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 because I know people want me to say that. Order, order, order! That's enough! I ship sails in the morning. Okay. Alright. I think we can conclude that there is no reason to continue with this cross-examination. Stick a fork in us. We're done. Mr. Grossberg! My hemorrhoids never lie. The show is over, Mia. Wow. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him. No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent. Oh, God, my voice. I can't do it. Ugh. No further evidence is required of me to convince the man of this guilt. Okay. No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt. Your Honor! At this time, I'm prepared to render a verdict in this case. Do you have something further to add, Miss Fay? Is this what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth. The whole truth. And nothing but the... I mean, if you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. But I can't. I just can't say it. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me. Miss Fay. No matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you and I'll represent you to the very end. We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further need for him to say anything. Cough, cough. Well, wait a minute. Mr. Wright. I'll tell you what really happened. But I've already told you, Mr. Wright. There's no need for further... Cough. I did it. I admit it. I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault that Doug Swallow is dead. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's gonna be bad news. You're lying! Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it! Don't talk about her like that! What you just said, was that the truth? Yes, I was afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was the murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're all absolutely convinced you are. But please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear I'll tell the whole truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Fay? I believe in you. Oh, thank you. I still can't believe it. He really did push the victim. Ugh, it feels like my hemorrhoids are about to... Whatever. I don't understand a word that guy says, aside from the nasty stuff, which is all anybody ever remembers from him. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. Falcon Punch! Phoenix Punch! I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. So I went back, but he was just laying there dead. Well, the explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. But when I pushed him, there wasn't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed it. That's true. Even a doofus like him couldn't have missed that. Miss Fay, let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination does not yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it. Alright, let's do this. We got a life to save, people. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. What did he say? I'm curious to know. So what kind of things did Mr. Swallow say to you? He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a bad girl. Is that all? Yup. Well, Miss Fay, you heard him yourself. Oh boy, you're not doing yourselves any favors here, Mr. Wright. Please don't make this harder for me than it already is. Anyway, after he said that, I lost my temper and gave him a shove. Okay. Can you tell me about what happened in a little more detail? That guy, He just said what he wanted to say to me. And then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave. That's when I lost my temper and flew into a furious frenzy. Furious frenzy. I just gave him a light, gentle shove to the chest. I swear, I didn't mean to. It was more like a love tap. And when you did that, there was no severed cable anywhere to be seen? Right, there was nothing like that at all. But is it possible that you merely overlooked it? Well, I guess it's possible. What are you doing? Don't let that guy steamroll you over like Chief Asphalt. Oh, God. I believe what's important here is the moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the testimony, witness. I have a name. All right, at that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. What was this noise? A loud noise? And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like, snap! You know, come to think of it, I wonder what it was. Hee 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 hee. Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. You're not qualified. You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. I'm gonna ask for details. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important. So try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Aha! Could it have been? Yes? Could it have been? Hurry up and tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it and it broke. That was probably the noise I heard. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. Wow. That's, I hope his parents weren't in the freaking audience of this trial. Then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye, what do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Well, yes there is. But we're gonna find out why it's important next time. So, see you guys then. Bye.